Alright guys, so I'm just gonna make a video on what's so good about riding, or the pros and cons of riding as well, because I'm gonna try not to be biased just because I ride a bike, so I'm gonna try and mention the cons as well. And there are a few cons, but I think most bikers will probably agree that the pros outweigh the cons basically, which is probably why they ride bikes anyway. But yeah, so what's so good about riding? Oh man, where do you start? I think what a lot of other bikers say, they say that, you know, it's just freedom, just the freedom of going wherever you want. But I think, to be honest, that's probably the same whether you've got a car or a bike. Like, oh, come on. I think whether you've got a car or a bike, you'll probably experience that same feeling of just having freedom. Like, my first vehicle was this bike, so, you know, I experienced it on a bike. But I think if you had your first car, you'd probably experience the same thing. So apart from that, I mean, what do people say? People say the speed of the bikes and stuff, that's what they like, the acceleration and all that. Like I said in my last video, that I know I can't really say much about it because I'm on just a 125, but to me, even just from this 125, like going fast or accelerating fast is good. Like, it's fun obviously, but it's not everything. Like, what is this guy doing? Like, before I got a bike, I used to think that was like pretty much everything that people liked about bikes. You know, they can go fast, the acceleration. It's a lot cheaper to get a bike that can go from 0 to 60 in 3 seconds than it is to get a car that can do the same. So, but there's so much more to the speed and the acceleration. There's so much more to riding bikes than the speed and acceleration. So basically, what I think is you know, some of the best things are, well, first of all, just the feeling of riding a bike, which is like, it's kind of hard to explain. There is one video actually by another motor vlogger. I can't remember his name. I'll put it in the description. And he made a video, and I think he explained it quite well. What's so good about, you know, riding a bike? Just the feeling of it. You know, it's different to a car. You're not just controlling the steering wheel. It's just like you're part of the bike. You're like, you know, when you want to turn left, you just lean. It just kind of goes where you want it to go. You don't even have to think about it properly. It's bizarre, but kind of fun as well. So that's the first thing I'd say, just the feeling of riding a bike. After that, personally, I would say the cost is a massive factor. Like, come on, please. Yes, thank you very much. The cost, because to get insured on a car when you're like 17 or 18, it's like minimum $2,000, even if it's like the smallest car, like a 1 litre and everything. And on the bike, it's like £500 or something. So that's just insurance, and tax is like £17 a year. You know, this is all in the UK anyway, but I'm just saying generally bikes are a lot cheaper. Petrol is just ridiculous. It's like, this bike is filled up by like about £13 and it's full, and that'll last you, £13 will last me like about a month, because I get about 300 miles out of it. So the cost is just ridiculous. And then I think after that, the final, probably main thing that I like about riding bikes is basically what I'm doing now, and that's traffic. Because if you live in any kind of city, then you'll know how bad traffic is. Like, I know that if I go to work every morning, if I went to work in a car, it'd take me at least twice as long, and I can tell just by the amount of cars that I go through. This is me coming home from work now, and you'll see it's like, it's not even half as bad as it is on the way there, but you can still, yes, thank you, I like those people. respect the people that move out the way. So this is me coming home from work, and you can see, ooh, how many cars there are. This is on the way home, but in fact I might just cut to a little clip of me in the morning so you can see how many cars I go through in the morning. So yeah, that's how many cars I go through in the morning. It's quite a lot, and so it saves me a lot of time every single day. I suppose if you don't live in a city, that might not be as big a factor for you if you're deciding to get a bike or not. But for people who live in cities, it's quite a major thing. Traffic. I can't imagine in London. It must be even worse. So yeah, they're the main things really. The cost, the traffic, the feeling of riding a bike, the freedom. That's it. I mean, and then I'm also going to talk about the cons, because I'm not just going to say all the good things about it. There are a few cons, but I think definitely the pros outweigh the cons, and also it's pretty easy to get around the cons, if you know what I mean. For example, the main thing I found when I started was, well, you have to, when you first start riding, you don't have to, but you should pretty much get like some sort of safety gear, and that's going to cost you a bit of money if you get, you know, like I've got this padded waterproof gear and all that, and so you're going to have to spend money on that and stuff, but it's definitely worth it, because you don't want to be risking your life every day just because you couldn't spend a couple of £100. And then yeah, also with that, I would kind of say the first con I noticed was like the weather and stuff. Because when it starts to rain and it gets cold, it can be really, really annoying if you haven't sorted yourself out properly. Like the first few weeks I was riding, I didn't have any, it was a bumpy road, I didn't have any protective gear or anything, so when it got cold, it got so cold, and because you constantly got wind in your face and stuff, you really feel it on your body, you can really feel it through your helmet, everything. Ooh, hello, learner. So the cold's one thing. The rain, well, it only started raining after I got this waterproof gear, so I didn't really experience it that bad, but I haven't got any motorcycle boots yet, and I came home in the rain the other day, and my whole foot got soaked all the way down to like my socks and everything. It was horrible. So the weather is another thing, and then probably the biggest con, if you like, I'm not sure if you class this as a con, but I'm sure most parents will probably agree, but is the safety aspect. You know, like it's significantly more dangerous than driving a car, because if you have any sort of accident in the car, you're protected by however many inches of steel and safety precautions, whereas on a bike, if you have an accident at pretty much any speed, you're gonna come off your bike, and then it's just you versus the tarmac or the wall or whatever. Ooh, this is tight. Yeah, it's just gonna be you versus whatever. So kids in that car. So yeah, the safety aspect. Now, to do this, the safety thing right, I reckon if you stick to your speed limits, you're about 80% safer than if you don't. I reckon it's a lot safer if you stick to your speed limits. The only thing is it's so hard not to. When you're on a bike, it's so tempting and so easy not to stick to the speed limit, which is why there's so many accidents every year and so many fatalities and stuff on bikes, because people just, you know, they speed like all the time. It can be safe if you want it to, and it just depends on the rider really. It doesn't matter, well, it does matter to an extent how powerful your bike is, but it matters more on the rider. Like Royal Jordanian famously said that it's about the connection between your mind and your wrist, not about how many cc's you've got. And I think I couldn't agree with that more really. It's like, it's so true. But yeah, that's basically my views on the pros and cons of riding. But I still think any day the pros, the cost, the feeling, the traffic definitely outweigh the cons. You know, the weather, if you just sort yourself out with some proper gear, and safety, as long as you're mature enough to ride safely, then I think it's definitely worth getting a bike if you're thinking about it. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
This is Land on the Side.